meet and greet the candidates. So tonight we have Juan, Manny Gonzalez running for mayor, and Stephanie Bondi, our councillors. Oh, you know, you can't hear? Okay. Okay, so I didn't want to. Okay, so thank you all for coming. And like I said, we have Juan, Manny Gonzalez running for mayor. Yay! Yeah. Woo! And we have Stephanie Bondi, District E. Woo! Yeah. Two great candidates. So I'm going to pass the mic to them, and you can ask questions, or it would be easy if I go around and have people speak into the mic. You tell me what you want to do. Who asks questions?
Neighborhood association meeting
Oh.
style. Raise your hand and we're
Hi. Take the mic.
Thank
Give the
you.
power to the people.
I first want to say I've been in front of you folks so many times, but I don't know why tonight I'm extremely nervous. My heart is pounding like, like you can't imagine. So if you see me stuttering a bit or thinking, it's because I'm nervous, but we're ready for you.
Because the camera's on you.
Good evening, buenas noches. Good evening to everybody. And again, yes, faces that really care about the community. You guys keep coming back for more. And like Stephanie said, I saw papers that look like has questions on it, so you're making me nervous as well. So. But anyways, that's okay.
Just a little pressure.
But nervous.
Our job.
Means we care.
Yes.
That's good.
And you know what? When you're nervous, it keeps you humble. On the fire service, right, Hector? So we don't run into a burning building without first thinking, what are we going to do? What's the plan? And in life, it's the same thing. So I hope that I bring that approach to political and also to government, that think before you act, don't shoot blanks, and stay composed, keep your deep breath, right? So that's what I want to do. I want to handle myself the way I always do, humble, relax, the best I can. But I want to say thank you to Brenda for hosting this.
And the whole association group, the Brenda Rossi and her team from the South Lawrence West Neighborhood Association. You ladies rock it every year, the longest standing neighborhood association that we have in the city of Lawrence. So I know I'm grateful for it, being a resident here of the district, and thank you for what you guys are doing for our
Brenda, before we get moving, I want to say a special thank you to Santina, because yesterday was Gold Star Families Day. And Santina, will you stand, if you don't mind, to be recognized? Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the sacrifice that your family made for this country. So that being said, Juan, thank you for having us here at Carleen's again. Thank you for the cookies. I don't know if you brought them or Brenda brought them. All right, so listen, 36 days.
On the way out.
Before we go into the questions, right? 36 days left, basically 35. From my side, right? I know Stephanie's team is working extremely hard. We're gonna stop working November 5th, the day after the election.
Actually, no, that's a lie. Hold on. No, that's a lie, because then every campaign needs to go out to collect their signs. So, no, I would say November 6th.
All right. Says the young lady who said, I'm going to take this weekend off after the primaries, and then she was campaigning a market basket. But that's great. So that goes to show you that we care. We are here before you because we want you. We want to earn your support. It's not that we want to get it. We want to earn it. And if we have to answer the tough questions, I think we are going to be trying to do that. But honestly, we're going to need volunteers, anything that you can give us. Everybody that's here, if you can grab another person and double the room, we are going to need people on election day. Remember that October 25th is the last day to register. October 25th is the first day for early voting. Saturday and Sunday you can vote at City Hall. If you don't think you're going to be here, Hector, you travel a lot. So make sure you vote early. Vote early. Anyone,
You guys travel a lot too.
Peter, if you think, anyone that don't think that is going to be here, please, we cannot allow to lose one single vote. No one can stay home. We know what we're facing. So please, let's do it together as Juan Lawrence. I'll give it back to Stephanie.
I want to also quickly recognize we have 2 former city councilors here with us. If I'm missing one, please let me know. But we have former councilor Rich Russell behind the camera. And we have former councilor Gonzalez here with us tonight. He represented District C during his time. And, am I missing someone?
No, you want to also mention there will be no mail-in.
Yes, and I actually, Jane Valentin, I'm going to stand up for this one, asked me about this. So the City Council on September 19th, which was 2 Fridays ago, voted to eliminate mail-in ballots for the November 4th election. Following state laws, Massachusetts general law, municipalities have 45 days to opt out of mail-in ballots. So the state sees the preliminary election and the general election as 2 different elections. So we can opt out for both. I'm sure you have seen some things about voter fraud in the news. And I want to say that voter fraud has not stopped. It's been happening. Voter intimidation has been happening. Ballot harvesting has been occurring as well. And the city council decided to do something about it. However, that does not mean there is no option to vote other than in person. So the elections department does have a very detailed plan to ensure that those folks that did vote by mail-in also know there is an absentee ballot option. The good thing about absentee ballots is that there are laws behind it, and if voter fraud, anything that's not supposed to be happening, is found with these absentee ballots, there are actual more serious consequences associated with it. Whereas mail-in ballot, they don't really have legitimate laws to protect those voters behind it, other than the general laws that we know in general. So yes, it was majority council voted. I voted to opt out back in March when we originally had this vote. I'm against mail-in ballot for the simple fact that I'm going to generalize this. Us, the candidates in the city of Lawrence, have not been responsible enough to protect your vote. And that's a fact. Our city actually was praised by the state during the presidential election, where triple the amount of Lawrenceans went out to vote for our presidential race, and there was not one incident reported to the state. So the state now is very involved. They have full confidence in our election department, given what we saw last election for the presidential election, and they're working directly with our city clerk, who, as you know, also former city councilor, and our elections department. So I hope that this was informative. If you have additional questions regarding that process, absentee voting or mail-in ballots in general, I will be here afterwards to answer those questions for you guys.
What is the contingency for people that can't actually?
I'm sorry?
What is the contingency for people that actually can't?
So so they could request their absentee ballot. I actually asked that question for folks that cannot leave their home, and it's going to be delivered from an elections department employee and picked up by our elections department or directly by our city clerk. So they're even encouraging, they don't want anyone to mail their absentee ballots. They're even going to go out to pick them up and return them back to City Hall. And they will be kept separately, locked, secure, and they're also checking in with the state and reporting those numbers of ballots to the state as well.
not a perfect process, it's not a perfect world, but we're trying to make sure that your votes are going to count and that you're going to do it freely, that you're going to vote without anybody bothering you, harassing you, hunting you down, so that you should be able to choose whoever. You know what I did the other day? I went online, I did a live video, and I asked people to call my cell phone number and that I was going to respect your privacy, because I know that Lawrence politics doesn't allow you to support the candidate that you wish to support openly. So I said, call me and let me know that you are one of those people afraid, and I guarantee you that I'm not going to say who you are, but please come out and be part of the process. And I started getting bombarded by calls because there's a lot of people that are afraid to support openly because of what's happening. So hay mucha gente que están asustados en apoyar al candidato que quieren por miedo a otras personas. So we don't want to live like that. This is why that happened. So the fear, they place the fear in the voters out there right now, saying the councillors took it away from you, you're not going to be able to vote. That is not true. That's disinforming the community. You all know that that's not true. Absentee ballots were here before I was born, probably. Vote by mail came in after the pandemic, so to us that was something new. I know, it was convenient, right? It was meant for a good reason, for a good purpose. It's just that human beings find way to tweak and try to take advantage of stuff. So los votos por correo tenían una buena razón para hacerlo, pero ellos, gente se aprovechaban del proceso. So with that being said, I would hand it.
I would like to add to
Yeah.
that. I was also asked specifically about District E and if there were any voter fraud happening in District E throughout the preliminary election. I want to say not to my knowledge, so that's good. And I actually, mid-August, I went to the elections department and I asked to see that list. In fact, the elections department director said to me, "Counselor, this is the first time you've ever asked to see this list, because I stay away from it." But he stood with me at the counter. We went through every name of every voter that requested a mail-in ballot. And luckily for our district, he did say to me, "Counselor, these are individuals that historically so far have always requested mail-in ballots," so he knew the names. We didn't have an alarming amount of mail-in ballots either. That's another indicator when you see a lot in certain districts, etc. So we were okay for the most part. If something did happen, I'm not aware of it, but overall, District D was in good shape.
Awesome. So Stephanie and I and many other candidates, we've been hitting the road, we've been canvassing, we've been listening to you, to the voters, to the concerns. Hemos estado caminando y escuchando sus concernimientos. In the primaries, one thing that was bothersome to some people was that we have a young lady in this room that I know for a fact that a super voter sends the census all the time and is still showing inactive. And that was bothering some, wasn't it? So?
It was very bothersome.
And I saw how irritated you were that you had to go back to your car to get an ID to vote because you did not expect it. So my pledge to you is this: it doesn't matter what comes your way on election day, do not get discouraged, vote. Because the worst you can do is do a ballot, a provisional ballot, right? So they have to allow you to do at least a provisional ballot. They will put it to the side, and if at the end of the day we need to count it, we will count it. And if we just went straight out, then it won't count. But do not go home upset, because it was 19,000 inactives, and people were like, how did that happen? Maybe Rich has the answer, but that's a lot. And some people are like that. If you ask them for an ID, they'll just say, you know what, forget it, I'm going home. We need everyone to vote, cast a vote, even if it's a provisional ballot. So please don't go home discouraged. Those are things that happen. I called the city clerk. She says, maybe they didn't send the census, but then Sue says, I always say, send the census. So again, the message is, please come out and vote and bring everybody else that you can think of to vote. Don't let any family member stay home.
We have our first question.
No, not
Oh,
a
okay.
question, a comment. You dragged my name into this mess. Yes, everybody, well, I won't say everybody, but a lot of people know that I'm a numbers freak. And I do stay up with the ballots and the voting lists and all of that. When I first pulled papers in April, the voting list I got had 44,000 names on it. 10,000 of which were listed as inactive voters. I got another list the latter part of August, and the number of voters had ballooned up to 46,000. Okay, that's understandable, but the number of inactive voters had ballooned up to 29,000, getting the 19,000 increase that Manny just mentioned. I never really got a decent explanation as to why, other than, well, in May we went through, but I know of people that did return, had their names returned on census forms that were inactive. I know, well, I'll let it go at that, but there was some issues that I can't fathom as to why it happened. But I'm there, I'm keeping an eye on it.
Thank you for that. I guess, Peter. We're gonna go right into the questions.
Uh-oh, his trouble.
So Peter has been knowing me since I was 5 years old. That's when we moved to Mount Vernon Street from Andover Street. We were originally from Methuen and moved over here. This was in 1997. And when I decided to run for city council, mind you, this man who's been knowing me since I was 5, had me come in. He invited me into his home and questioned me for like an hour and a half. And I'm like, Peter, why are you doing this to me? But he prepared me, because I encountered a voter on Hamlet Street when I was door knocking that actually asked me similar tough questions. So I thank you, Peter, and I wonder what tough questions you have now.
This is really a financial question. Now, you might not look at it as a financial question, okay, but just hold your words until I finish this whole part of this. The first part of this is Lawrence, a sanctuary city, yes or no, don't answer. If it's yes, you're going to ask one other question. If it's no, ask me another question. So if it's yes, that it's a financial, it is a sanctuary city, then there's the possibility of losing some money. I don't know where that money is and how much it is and what it affects. All right, so if the answer is no, it is not a sanctuary city, the second part of the question is, are you able to know how to get all of the money that we are entitled to, however that's done. Now, I don't know how that's done. So, two-part, sanctuary, yes or no? You may answer yes or no, it doesn't matter that. The key is that we know that you know how to get the money no matter which way the city is looked at. I think that's important. If that's not important, tell me to sit down.
Every question is important. Every question is important. Do you want me to take this off? Do you want to?
Let me make a comment that you can take. When Peter put a sign at one of my signs at his house, Stephanie said, "That's not fair. How did he let you put a sign there without asking you all the tough questions that he asked me?"
You can start actually with this, because that'll chime in. But
Peter, so to your answer, right? They keep saying that it's not a sanctuary city, and that there is another name to it, and residents keep saying it is, it's not. So there's a back and forth, and it is. I'm hoping that as an independent candidate, that is not a Republican or a Democrat, that I could be appealing to the federal government, and that they can look at Lawrence and say, Lawrence is being led by an independent mayor. Maybe I can work with this guy so we can get all the full benefits that they deserve to continue providing the residents the best services possible. So that is where I can go with that, and I will leave the other half to Councilor Vice President Infante.
Thank you. So the term that Mr. Gonzalez was referring to, I believe is the Safer Communities Act. It was passed by the Lawrence City Council in 2017, Rich? 2017. So yes, we are a sanctuary city, that's the bottom line. We're not.
No, you're not.
Okay.
It was voted in as a Trust Act community.
Trust Act community.
There's a difference.
Okay.
Slight, but.
There's a slight difference, but overall it's the same, it's the same sentiment. And I'm not gonna lie, there are some funding that may be affected for the city of Lawrence. I don't know how severe, nobody actually knows how severe that's going to be for us. I know at the state level, there are concerns regarding funding issues as well for the state overall. So it's a matter where our federal government, our state government, our mayoral administration, and then the city council jumps in when something is before us. But essentially, those three parties or groups are the ones that are working together to figure out where additional funding can be found. Not additional, but funding that could replace what we usually get could be founded. But right now, I can say that they're all scrambling trying to figure this out for our state and our community.
My only thing was that somebody's aware that we could lose money.
Yes, so we are.
We don't want to lose it, that's all.
Yep. We became aware of it, and I know it's been in the works. I just don't, to be honest, I don't know where we're at with that.
I wanted to add that one of the things that I was made aware of, that the federal government cut some funding for childcare. And everybody's asking me, hey, how about the vouchers? How come we're not gonna be having them anymore? And you know what I keep saying is that, yes, we are facing maybe some cuts from the federal government. This is why we have to be responsible with our finances at the local level, so that whenever the federal government cuts whatever, we don't get caught off guard by misspending money, creating unnecessary positions, high salaries. So if we do our due diligence here in the city and be ready for those cuts that might be coming down the pipeline, we could be better off. So that's where I stand on that.
Okay.
Your second question?
That-
I see your list there, Peter.
It's just the Mount Vernon Broadway Park, that traffic light down there, it takes 1 second, and it's unbelievable. I mean, I can see accidents getting ready to happen. When you're making a left turn, coming up Mount Vernon, there's that light that turns with the arrow, and it's on for one car can get through, and it's a yellow. Now the other light is green, and bam, it's like it's helter-skelter. It's tough to get through there, and I see that, obviously, you see the trucks coming down the go up. And there's parking on both sides there. Something, it's just too tight. I was here when they had the meetings way back about what they were gonna do at that corner. And things that they did were different than what was said at that meeting. They took out this much more of the corner, and it just wasn't, I would never say the word lie. Someone made an incorrect statement about how it was gonna really look when it was done. And it is, I see the garbage truck can't make that corner, cars are coming into it, and it hasn't happened yet, but it's gonna happen. So that was a minor one. I'll give you one more thing. Down by the high school.
Real quick on that, we have our former District E City Councilor Dave Abdu with us tonight. So Dave, I will follow up with you on this, because I know you were part of the process as a councilor. I know you and I have spoken about it before, but you and I can do a little refresh on it and see what can be done.
Good.
Okay, South Broadway and Mount Vernon, yep.
Yep. The other thing is, across from the high school, where Taco Bell and all those, it seems like the kids just run across the street. Now, I think there's a light there for them to push the button.
Yeah, there's several, few of them.
But they don't seem to use the button somehow or other. Somebody's gotta educate these kids that they can't just run. It's all right, maybe it's all right on a small street, but that's cars that are already, the speed limit is that 30 there? I think it's probably 30. So those cars are moving pretty fast, and the kids just step out, don't look, and they assume they're gonna stop. Somewhere it's gotta stop back. You've gotta be re-educated. Yes, the law says you have to stop at the crosswalk. But if you're right there at the crosswalk and they jump up in front of you, they're not looking, they're expecting you to stop. And, so I'm not gonna change my route to get home. I'm gonna come by there and come by my River Street. And that's, I don't know what can be done. I don't know if that's a state situation. No, the kids have to be educated. Something is missing there. I don't understand it. They just,
Peter, I'm sorry. So, see, the microphone ended up in my hand because Stephanie said, that's your district. So, remember that years back, the young kid that got killed right at the same location on 114, basically in front of Taco Bell. At that time, the talk was, let's do a pedestrian bridge, cross over, keep the kids from having to cross. And I said that the only way that would work is like what North Andover did. They did a pedestrian bridge, but the only way to cross 125 had to be that bridge. Over here, you can build a pedestrian bridge, but if you're gonna have that many openings on the fence, the kids are not gonna jump and cross that bridge. That was the same thing with the footbridge, right? Nobody wanted to go up to Boyd Street to cross the bridge. They'll go across Inman Street, through the tracks, and eventually we lost a young girl in the tracks, and she also died. So it's interesting because of the fact that I live around the corner from there. I live in Colonial Heights. One of the bus stops is at the corner of Durso and Winter Gap. So the kids come dashing through the park because they don't want to miss the bus across 114 to make the bus stop. They don't care about pushing the button. It's almost like you're going to have to go to the schools and start Crosswalk 101 as part of the curriculum so that it gets enforced. But still, we're talking about young people, energetic, and they're just going to defy the odds. They're just going to run across and cross. So it's almost like if you're driving through there, please know that this could happen to you. I've seen a lot of close calls. I know that they arrange Dunkin' Donuts, right? When you come out from Dunkin' Donuts, you can no longer take a left, you can only take a right, which, by the way, I get more traffic in my neighborhood. But at least I know that it also affects other ways, because when you take a right, if you're coming into Lawrence and you go to Dunkin' Donuts and you're coming north to work or whatever, when you leave Dunkin' Donuts, you have to go south again. And your two options now is either go down the street to the plaza and turn around, or take a left on Artsgood Street, and now you're going to encounter the traffic from the high school, or you take a right and go through Colonial Heights and encounter us, the residents. But what we're looking for is safety for our children.
No, what about at Mary May College, you've got a light? Do you think that would be more effective than the blinking light?
Let's see.
I just think that we're still dealing with people following the rules, right? Whether it's a blinking yellow, a blinking red, it's whether you are going to be that person that's either going to wait for that signal to give you the cross, the right to cross or not. So it's still going to be work in progress. We got to keep talking to our kids at home. Hey, do the best you can, follow the rules, law and order. The schools can reinforce it, but I call it work in progress. We have to be careful, because if you hit somebody, it's not enough to say, he jumped in front of me. You are going to be in trouble. There's going to be somebody hurt, and they're going to come after you. So let's be extra vigilant when you go through 114, where Taco Bell, Dunkin' Donuts, etc., by the stadium. Please be careful with it.
I'm going to go to Jim real quick. Jim Manolo.
Manny, what is your opinion on speed humps within the city? In certain sections where really the roads are out of control.
I believe and listening to the people, to the voters, to the residents, what's important to you. And that has been buzzing since I started campaigning. Can you do something? Will you do something about slowing down the traffic, the speed in different sectors, especially, in particular, the school zones? The only one that I can speak of right now is the Weatherby School that has a nice one. And that's what they call the speed humps, not a speed bump, but the hump because it's really wide. And I was visiting my kid who lives in Rochester, New York, and they have those everywhere. And they say that they're easier for the plows to plow in the winter because they're wider, so they can glide over, clean it, continue on, versus the little skinny speed bump that if they're temporary or the rubber ones, the plow is just gonna rip it in the winter. So a lot of times they just take them off. So I would be in favor of any device that is going to slow the speed down, but I would entertain speed humps.
Before they used to have the temporary ones, which cost the city money because they had to install them, take them out before the plow started. But now, I believe the mayor had changed it and they can use asphalt for a gradual speed hump instead of a bump. They have one in front of the New Balance building. It's been there for like 10 years. The plows have not even put a little dent in it. And they could install them near some stop signs because these days people don't stop.
Yep. Well, so Stephanie will touch up on that because I know that she has been asked also about slowing down traffic in certain parts of her district.
The one in front of Weatherby seems to work pretty well.
Yes. And Jim is aware about how I feel about speed humps, speed reducers. I have been trying to advocate, it's going to be 4 years now, for the speed reducers or the temporary speed bumps for certain areas during the summer. And every single time I received, the response I would receive was, oh, we're working on a plan. We're going to implement speed reducers. We're working on a plan. Great. It's 2025 now. Where is that plan? The one at the Weatherby is great. That was when the council was told that they were going to focus first on, when I say they, I mean the administration. They were going to focus on school zones first. So the Weatherby was done, that's beautiful. But okay, where's the plan for the rest of the city? Where's the plan for everything else? We keep hearing, there's a plan, and then nothing comes out of it. And then you see this district, then they see this district councilor getting upset or getting angry because I have my constituents, you folks, calling me about the speeding, about a car getting hit, and I'm like, what's going on? So it's been very frustrating for me as your district councilor trying to deal with that. I am though happy that I have a good relationship with our new police chief, so he's gotten an earful from me already about that, but he agrees and he understands what's going on. But this has been an ongoing battle, and it's a very frustrating one. Do you want to add to that, or?
No, Rich's question.
Okay, getting back to what Peter brought up about the intersection of South Broadway and Mount Vernon. Is that traffic light, the timing on that light controlled by the city or is it controlled by the state?
I was told,
Route 28 is a state road, but do we have control of it or does the state have control of it?
I was told it's the state.
Then to change the timing on it, you would have to go to the state, if I'm not mistaken,
Correct.
to
Yeah.
MassDOT.
Yeah.
Now, this is a question for both of you. With the lack of attention, people driving, do both of you advocate for trying to pass a home rule petition to get Lawrence exempted from the traffic light cams? Somebody runs a red light, bang, we got your license plate, you're gonna get a ticket in the mail. I know the state has a law across statewide, no traffic cams. But I think Lawrence, with the crappy drivers that we have, to just get, they got tunnel vision. They don't care what's out there. All they can see is where they're going. They don't care. I think Lawrence would make a good test case of traffic cams for traffic violations. Do we, either or both of you advocate for something like that?
I agree with you. I think we need it. Especially because we're still severely understaffed for our police department, and they need all the help that they can get. So I'm for it. I don't see anything wrong with it. I think it'll be a huge help. So I don't see why not.
I agree with you as well. I actually would love to be up to par with the police department. I would love to have somebody at the police station monitoring live cameras, full shift, just so when something happens, that person knows that it happens. Knows so that you can go look at the history of what happened, go search for a so-called accident. Hey, something happened. I would love to have a person dedicated in that room that can actually look at all the cameras live and take action right away when there is an accident or something.
Former Councillor Gonzalez has a question.
Now, updating the city of Lawrence, the buses, school buses have a camera?
Not that I'm aware of. I believe some do, but I'm not 100%.
I'm a trainer for first student, the opposite company, it's a poor, I can't in Lawrence. And the town that my drivers work in New Hampshire, buses have cameras. And when I started in that district 20 years ago, there was bad drivers. You know, they're in the phone, and they don't see a big school bus with the yellow and the red, they don't see it. They go through the stop sign. They get $300 fine, go through the stop sign. And I drive in Wareham, Salem, New Hampshire. And I think that's a good idea if the Lawrence don't have cameras on the buses. Because we, like Mr. He said, the drivers, they don't see.
Right.
They just look, they don't see the school buses. The camera would be something very good.
Thank you. I don't know where we're at with that, but I'll follow up with Odanis Hernandez, our CEO, to see if we have them, and if we don't, if there is a plan for the future for that.
I think the 2-inch, I got cameras now on the buses.
I have a question. Why in Lawrence, the city of Lawrence, they don't do checkpoint? Checkpoint, I mean, the two officers can park on Broadway or Long Street. They can check everybody, put the people over, put to the side, check the license, registration. And sometimes the big people, they have no license. They drive in the place, so they never hit about a checkpoint or.
I know we have checkpoints late at night, and for what you're asking about specifically, they do operations periodically for that type of stuff. But again, we're almost 40 offices down in the city of Lawrence, and that's a significant amount for the amount of activity that this community has. So they do what they can, but they do periodically conduct those operations. We just don't, we don't have a police rep here, but I believe we probably don't have the full capacity to do them as regularly as we should be.
To that point, I truly believe that when we do operations like that, whether it's crosswalk or speed, whatever it is, I truly believe that we should highlight or promote when people get caught going through neighborhood, blowing through crosswalks or stop signs, whatever it is. If you do a sting and you caught 5, 10 people, it should be in the paper the next day that we are watching. It might bring attention, awareness to people that they're going to be watching out because they think that you're out there on a daily basis. They don't know when you're going to be doing it. I agree with Stephanie. I think that we are short-staffed. Yo creo que estamos cortos de oficiales, pero no estoy haciendo excusas, sino que yo sé que estamos cortos. And for those that are telling the community that we are okay, that we have officers running back into the city, that they left, but that they're begging to get back in. That is not true. We just lost another officer to the sheriff's department. So even with a contract, when you mess around with their morale, there were still people leaving. We have to find a way to hire those officers and how we're gonna retain them so that they don't keep going to other communities. We wanna have a full staff police department so we can accomplish concerns like that, so that we can do more operations, so we can slow it down and people can start seeing that we are enforcing the law. So, Brenda, I know you have a question. I just wanna, Stephanie and I are working really hard, and I know that there is other candidates out there that are really working hard because they wanna get a chance to also serve. And I wanted to recognize that one of the city councilors, a large candidate, is here with his lovely wife, and that is John Regal with his wife.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you.
Brenda has a question?
Yeah, so coming through Methuen, I know, so they're putting now a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. Andover has 25. What about Lawrence?
That is currently tabled at the Public Safety Committee. The police was going to conduct, I'm sorry, not the police. They conducted a traffic study years ago that was brought forth by Councilor Mark LaPlante. And it's outdated, so we're waiting for that updated report study to come back to the council to revisit, see if it makes sense for the city of Lawrence.
Brenda, those are some of the things that, when this administration came on, there was a lot of changes to the traffic flow, the traffic pattern, one-ways. What people were used to became, now there's a section in Park Street that you have 3 streets coming down the same way. And sadly, and I'll say it loud and clear, without even consulting with the fire department. The fire department has big, large vehicles that they have to get through the city to get to you as soon as they can. And at times, it's difficult, and people think that they can tell them how to flow, and they'll say, oh, you're an emergency vehicle, just go up the one way. You got license siren. It doesn't work like that. Especially congested streets in the Arlington district, that if you attempt to go one way and you have 5 or 10 cars coming at you and they have no way to back up, and now you're delayed, you will be the one being blamed because you went up a one way. So it's easier for somebody to say, just go up a one way. It doesn't work like that. You're asking somebody to break the laws, the rules and the law, and the state police comes here and trains the firefighters and say, we don't break the law just because you have lights and siren. So for people that speak like that, I question why it was done. They said it wasn't our plan, we just implemented it. I said, well, maybe you should have never implemented it. Maybe you should have done your own study and see if it makes sense, or just leave it alone. But that's why we live in that part of the city, and people are fed up. Because streets would change different directions, still the same problem. They made them a one way, but they're still parking on both sides. Bennington Street should have never been changed. I truly believe the vehicles coming out of DPW with sand and salt should have been able to go up Bennington Street all the way to the Methuen line, and now you come out of DPW, you cross the river, you gotta go right or left. And good luck going right to Saratoga and the Portuguese Club, because you're probably not gonna make it. So it's just make decisions with a strategic plan so that we can provide the best services possible for our residents.
Any questions?
Hi,
Hello.
I've got a couple of
Former City of Lawrence Comptroller.
comments followed up by a couple of questions. I think everyone's aware this is about an election. I think everybody knows we had a primary 2 weeks ago. We had a 13% turnout. That's absolutely pathetic. I've seen them lower than that. So for primary, this was pretty good for, it was a mayoral year. Non-mayoral years, I've seen it even lower. And I got the numbers right in front of me. Mr. Russell alluded to the fact that the rolls have ballooned up to 46,000. A little over 6,000 people voted. Let's stop and think about this for a minute. We're saying that 9 out of 10 registered voters in this community chose not to go to the polls 2 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago was a beautiful day. It wasn't like there was a blizzard or a hurricane or some weather event. I don't know what we can do. Maybe we need to start talking to our neighbors or to try to drive it. The other thing is I've been voting in this community for a long time, over 50 years. And used to be a time when issues would drive the election, whether it was a new fire station, a school, or traffic, or whatever the issue was. Now we've got a situation almost the reverse, where the candidates need to drive the issue to get the people to the polls. Now, I agree, I'm glad the council took action on these absentee, well, not absentee, but these mail-in ballots. I'm not a big fan, anybody who knows me knows I am not a fan of mail-in ballots. I'd like to see it go nationwide, but the states, by, our Constitution, they run the elections, so it's up to the states. And apparently there's a clause in our laws that give you the certain window to opt out. And there was a very serious reason why. I mean, somebody's going to jail for that. That's a very serious consequence. So I'm glad they took action. My question is, what can you do as candidates between now and the elections in early November, the
36 days.
Yeah. What can you do to drive those numbers up? Because 13%, like I say, 9 out of 10, if you're anything under 50%, it's just a popularity contest. And then to me, that's not a true indication of what the issues are and how the candidates relate to those issues. So what can you do to drive those numbers up to get them at least to 50%? Thank you.
I believe if anyone has ideas on how to help us drive that up, that would be great. I can't speak for this candidate, but for me, I've been an elected official for 7 years in the city of Lawrence, and I had 2 different positions, but we communicate with our voters, with the voters. We send out mailers, we do phone calls, we then we do a GOTV strategy, which means get out the vote. So there are different avenues as candidates that us and our team does to encourage people to come out. But I think there's only so much we can do. So if anyone has fresh ideas, that would be great. But what I believe also is another factor of the declining numbers is you're seeing throughout our city, besides the presidential election, which we didn't have any issues with triple the amount of voters that came out, but for municipal elections, they're like adults, grown adults are fighting, are yelling, they're intimidating voters as they're walking into the polling locations, and that alone discourages people to come out. And to your point, you see the numbers declining year after year. And as much as we try to keep it as safe, we spend a lot of money as a city hiring police officers for election day. And it's like, us, the adults, we need to get it together also. We need to ensure that we're making folks feel safe, but, to each his own. Other than that, I don't know what else we can do. I think John Regal maybe has a suggestion, but if anyone has a suggestion, I will gladly be open to it.
Yeah, well, look around. There's no youths, from my cousin Vinny. There's no youths in this room. Hate yourself.
So I personally would do whatever it takes, and that's going to be begging, asking you again, asking all of you to please don't give up. And I'm going to tell you a quick story about an incident on Adams Street in which Stephanie was a big help to resolve it, that relighted that desire to be involved and come out and vote for one particular resident, because he had said to me, I'm not interested, I'm done. All you got to do is talk, and do nothing. And we are so unhappy with what's going on right now. There's a lot of people disinterested right now. So this reflects those awful numbers, because there's people that seem to have forgotten about what Lawrence is about. So honestly, we have to re-engage them. And every time you shake their hand and look them in the eye and ask for a vote, also say, please vote. And if I cannot earn your vote, can I at least let me earn your respect? But please come on and vote. And let's not give up on people. Really just keep driving it home. Please don't stay home. Keep talking to your family members. Do not allow me to look at that voters list after it's done and know that our own family members didn't vote. So we have to really keep driving the message that help is on the way, better days are coming for Lawrence, mejores días vienen para esta ciudad, y que no se queden en la casa, que no se den por vencidos. I don't want you to give up. Really, keep thriving. Lawrence is better than that. This is a beautiful city with a lot of potential. Its true values are not really halfway showcase of the way they should be. So let's not give up on Lawrence. Lawrence really is not giving up on us. So people get mad, they get upset about who gets in office, and they do whatever they want. So I want to share this little that happened. And I want to say that the former chief of staff to the mayor lives on this street, and this gentleman has a problem with drainage, and water just keeps coming down the street. It doesn't make it to the drain. It goes to his house, and it's taking down his deck. And he says, look at this, and look at all these videos. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I said, please don't give up. Let me speak to the district councilor. Let's bring her over here so we can find solutions. And it was meant to be, because I'm crossing Adams and Beacon, and Stephanie's coming down the street.
Happen to be driving down.
And I said, Stephanie, we have to go see him right now. Stephen Bass. We have to go see him right now. And I didn't do much than just communicating it to her. She took it a step further. She found the responsible party. They went to see him. And he says, he tried to give me all the credit. He goes, 3 years fighting for this and nothing got done. Manny came here, 5 minutes, I got results. So I had to say, listen, she did the legwork. So you got to give her some love, because she made it happen. They came in, and the guy's happy that his problem is being taken care of. But those two neighbors, they wanted nothing to do with voting because they felt neglected. So we got to keep driving and find solutions.
So, the youth, and all these kids in high school, at some point in time, are going to be voting. Do we actively, it's been a long time since I've been in school, so, you know, is there still a civics class? Do they still talk about voting? Are you allowed to go into schools and talk to the school? Will they allow you to do it? It's two-handed. Would you, I'm sure I feel like you would do it if you could. And I don't know what the rules are. Any thought?
I know that independent agencies or organizations can go into the schools to organize like a voter registration drive and things like that. I know also Lawrence High School recently introduced civics back into the curriculum. They don't have many courses, many classes on it, but they do have like 1 or 2 or 3, something like that, classes. And I was lucky enough to be invited to one of those classes last year. And they are talking about it. They are educating them. This was a sophomore class. They are educating them from early. And what I liked most is that they kept it about your right as an American to go vote. It wasn't about being on this side or that side or whatever, but just teaching these teenagers that once you're 18, you have the right to go vote. And these are the resources that you would need in order to, register to vote or get informed, etc., like that. We need more of that. We also, in the city of Lawrence, I believe it's 40% of the overall populations are within the millennial age group. And you see, when you compare that to the voters that actually go out, it doesn't line up. I'm not sure. I have spoken to many youths. They're first very excited to get involved and to go out to vote, but when it comes to the day, they don't go out. And again, we can do as much reminding and connection to, connecting with them and all of that. I have not figured out what is that little hump, how to get over that little hump at the end. But I'm sure we can figure it out Dave, but John had his hand first.
I want to go back to this question. What can we do different? I'm gonna go when I went for the first time door knocking. I knocked on the door, they opened the door. You all the same! Boom! Slammed the door in my face. I'm like, okay, that went well. And then another day, we went back to the same neighborhood, knocked on doors. I'm like, you know what? I'm going back to that door. And knocked on the door. And he looks at me and he's like, you don't give up, don't you? I'm like, nope, not until I talk to you. And he actually spent 10 minutes talking to me, and I actually had him voted for me. So it's all about making the difference. He told me at the end, nobody ever come back to this house twice after I slammed the door in their face. I'm like, I don't give up until I talk to you. And I made a difference. So just a little bit, just one little bit different would make that person go and vote for us. And then, you just introduce yourself and let them get to know you and give you ideas. I know there's one gentleman here that, I forgot his name, I'm sorry. I spent quite a bit of time talking to him, because that was my first time talking to him, Stephanie's neighbor. And I think I got his vote. I think I get along with him pretty good. And I think I owe him
I give him the shit.
yeah, like, you know what? I think I got him, I think. And I owe him a fishing trip.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
the reason he brought his beautiful wife with him, okay? Had she not been there,
That would help.
I see the two hands. We had former councillor Abdu first, and then we're going to go to you folks.
Thank you. Well, to David's point, the numbers are too low, and we have to do something about it, but we only have 36 days until this election. These are great ideas. They take time to nurture and grow, but we only have 36 days left. And to Peter's point about the youth, we all have children or grandchildren or neighbors that are youth, whether it's the youth or us, our family, or our neighbors. What we can do here, those two individuals, though they're our leaders, and we hope for them to be our leaders again in January, it's up to us. It's up to us to get out there and do friend-to-friend cards, knock doors, make phone calls. We all have our comfort levels with certain things, but as someone who did what they're doing right now in the past, it's hard. And you only get so far with so many people. But if you take everybody in this room, it's crowd here. If you went home, even if you don't go out of your comfort level, you just reach out to family and friends. You call them, you email, you text, Facebook, friend-to-friend cards. Both of these campaigns are doing friend-to-friend cards. If you do that, you multiply this room by 10, 20, 30 times, and you keep that going. If you're physically unable to do some of these active things, there's so much you can do from home, right? And with only 36 days left, and if you want to see either or both, and I want to see both, which I can feel it, we have to do our part and reach out to them, reach out to the elders, those that are homebound. I was with Stephanie yesterday, and there were two seniors that are out of their mind concerned that they can't mail their ballots in. Well, it's a fallacy that they can't vote. We have to educate them about the absentee ballot. It's still a reality. And if they're unable to get down to City Hall, that doesn't mean their rights are taken away from them. They have the right to vote. So education, it's 36 days to get involved. We all have to get involved and do our part. Otherwise, history continues to repeat itself. Because whether it's schools, education, civic, that's great starting today. It won't bear fruit by November 4th. November 4th? So please, my encouragement to you is do something when you leave here tonight. Whatever our limits or abilities are, reach out. If you're supporting them, please, they've got materials, they've got educational materials, and they'll be able to fund you into absentee ballots, whatever the case may be. But please, do something. It's been there, and it is only so much a candidate can do, and they're doing what they can. It's now up to us. Otherwise, we're back at 14%. Disinterested youth, whatever they may be. So I know we do my part, whether it's friend cards, calls, neighbor talks, like we did yesterday, and just keep that going. And I hope everyone else does the same. That's what they won't say, but I'll say, please do that.
Thank you, Councilor. We just just got a really strong endorsement right there. Oh, a
Thank
very
you so
strong
much.
individual.
Thank you so much.
Rachel, that we have Mr. Blatchford raised his hand, and someone else.
To go back to your comment about knocking on doors and being present. You met my wife at our house and left something with her. But her enthusiasm was, hey, I met a nice person who seems to care about the city. And an opportunity to knock out a couple of at-large candidates. So the idea of making that handshake, touching that person, etc., to add on to what Dave said, if you go out and hit as many people as you can, there's a good chance you'll make it. Thank you.
We had someone else raise their hand in that corner. Give me one sec, Counselor. Nobody? Here, was it you, John? No?
I have a quality of life question, but I came in late and I don't know if we got answered.
No, that's fine. But it was you, Mr. Blatcher, raising your hand. Okay.
Sunday night we had another stabbing on Brook Street. That's 2 on Brook Street in the last month. What are we gonna do about this quality of life that this mayor seems to think is okay, that we live every day suffering, our kids can't go out. You know, we used to go and play until the lights came on. Now the kids go home and deal with the computers and the cell phones. They gave us, the mayor has separated us by giving so much money to his friends. But we're gonna get another 3% increase in taxes. What can we do to
3.58%. The mayor's raising it.
I think that we can start by choosing a new mayor. We can start by choosing a new mayor. I truly believe that he's selling you flowers, but they're rotten flowers, because they, honest to God, right? He was speaking somewhere and he says there hasn't been a murder in the last 3 years, and there was one that took place a block away from when he was saying that. And there was 2 in the last week, right where he was standing at. So we don't want to inflict fear in the community, but you got to keep it real, and you got to let people know what they're facing. Stop with the misleading and straight out lies, to call it out that way. Stop with the lies, just bring it, keep it real, inform the community the right way, English and Spanish, so that everybody gets it. Throughout, from north to south, east, west, include everybody, let them know what truly the numbers are. Stop writing on that crime decrease, because if you say to me, crime decrease, let's say 50%, I said, imagine if you didn't mess around with the police department and we were not short 30 or 40 officers, it could have been 60 or 70% decrease. So it's almost like when you say, oh, we saved the city money. We only paid $40,000 to this officer that sued the city. I said, if you didn't do what you did prior, you would have paid 0. But you were trying to do a favor by hiring somebody that was a friend of yours, and then you realized that hiring that guy was going to be a detriment to your force, and you said, we cannot have you. And the officer said, if you don't hire me, I'll just sue you. And they ended up settling for $40,000. So no, it's not a win. It's still $40,000 that we could have used for something else. So keep it real, Mayor. Tell people the truth, and you can start by electing a new mayor, and we can move forward.
Now, you've got me going in 2 directions at the same time. That's not a good thing. Getting back to Dave's mention of getting out. I mean, I know with 36 days, this is an impossibility. But if you get a copy of the purge list of who voted in your neighborhood, I'm appalled when I look at the people. I live over across the street by General Donovan School. I look at the people that voted there. 13% turnout. I can do the same thing. I can do it for Andover Street. I can do it for Mount Vernon Street. I can do it for Foster Street. It is, you know, you've got to, as Dave said, you've got to talk to your neighbors. And I just derailed my thing on the other stuff.
That's okay.
No, okay, no, I just dawned on that.
CQ.
Yeah, yeah, N1RLR.
I know. I'm going. I derailed him again.
Talking about the violence in the city. 2018, the former mayor encrypted the police radio transmissions. We can't hear anything. I'll be honest, I found a way around it. Kind of. I listen to the fire department. They respond to all ambulance calls. I listen to LGH ambulance dispatch. They get out on all violent crimes. You can hear what is happening. The Eagle Tribune doesn't give a rat's patoot about what happens in Lawrence. They're more interested in Mrs. O'Grady's well being redug up and plastered. Okay? We have no media that reports on the goings on in this community, particularly the violence. I think it's a sin that we have to pay $3 for a newspaper to find out what's going on. We do have the police logs on the city website, the lawpd.com. You can go in there, and that's 4 or 5 pages of information of what has happened, and they're good at it now. What happened up to midnight last night is online. You can actually see the events. There are events that I have found that are not put on there for investigatory reasons. They didn't put stuff in there about it. But the only way we can find out is, do I want to say surreptitiously? Information is being kept from us in a variety of manners, which I find totally wrong. You know, we got freedom of speech. I can say this, but we don't have the freedom to learn what's happening around us because those that are in power, basically, do I want to use the word censorship? Yes, I'll use it. We're being censored. They're restricting the information that we get released. It gets released to us. But that's that. I mean, yeah, little tricks of the trade that I've picked up over the years. It helps me. It doesn't solve the problems of the city because I have no way, not that I'm a savior or whatever, but there's no way, you know, I can get this information out to anybody.
Well, Councillor, I really just want to say this. It seems and it sounds like they have made it more difficult for us to stay on top of what's going on in the city, right? If you don't tune in to Spanish station on Wednesdays from 8 to 10, you're out. You don't get the update. Si tú no estás en la radio de 8 a 10, te quedaste fuera porque no te incluyeron. So honestly, right, we got to find a way. Call it Lawrence Real News or something. Rich Russell will start a newspaper that will inform the entire city of Lawrence what is going on. But just keep this in mind. Your vote carries so much power. So exercise that November 4th, and let's do something about that so that when newspapers come into the city looking for information, why are you fighting them? Why are you hiding for? Why are you lying to the community? I live in Colonial Heights, and when the fights at the tennis courts, the basketball courts, and the first thing they wanted to say that those are not Lawrence kids, not Lawrence High School kids. Well, don't lie to us. I live in front of the teacher whose kids, whose students those are. So I know they were from Lawrence. Nobody wants to speak about violence. It's not enjoyable. Nobody wants to highlight Lawrence for being violent. Just keep it real so that people know what's that. Don't say you can walk at 1 or 2 in the morning because nothing bad happens in Lawrence. No, you should say if you are going to go out in late hours of the night, just don't be alone. Don't find yourself in a dark street. Be careful. If you don't have to be there, don't be there. But don't say that it's okay to be doing that. Don't play like there's nothing wrong. So we have a beautiful city, a lot of potential, beautiful places to go enjoy yourself. Just be aware of your surroundings. Just be smart.
But on the flip side, I had something happen to me in the parking lot of City Hall after a committee meeting. It was still light out, and this was during the summer. I sat in my car for like 5 minutes or so just to like de-stress a bit, and I was on my phone, and I just happened to look up. I heard a voice, you know, so I just looked up, and it was it was a person walking through. You could tell he was not okay, to say the least. And the mistake that I made apparently was to look up and look at him, because then he walked over to my car and punched the side of my window shield, and then started to walk away and say, "Oh, I'm gonna like blow up this building, whatever," and then ended up walking away. That has never happened. I've never heard at least anything like that happen. It was a really scary moment, and violence is something that's happening, and it's increasing. And anyways, the point is that we're trying to work on it. We still need to take care of our community, but it is happening, and at least we're not blind to it. I know I talk about it publicly during the city council meetings, so yeah.
One of the ways that we can start making it safer, even though we're short with the police, is to be attending the neighborhood association meetings and asking our neighbors to let's take care of each other. Look out for each other. Do not ignore what's going on to your neighbors. If you got to make a phone call, make the phone call, make it unanimous, block it, whatever. And even I would be willing to establish a new number if what we have in place now is not paying dividends. But don't give up on your neighborhoods, because we have to reinforce them. So honestly, until we can fully staff our police force, let's take care of each other. Today is your neighbor, tomorrow it could be you, so don't give up on each other. No se den por vencido, ayúdense unos a los otros en las juntas de vecinos.
I also want to go back to your comment about the city overall, and I'm going to include myself as an elected official, not doing enough to educate the overall population in our community, the different groups within our community. For example, District D, we have various different types of people. And we actually have, for example, a large Asian population within District D and within the city that people don't know about because you don't really see them. They are very tight-knit community, but we do have a big Asian population here. I am one that I wish I could go on, whether if it's the radio or a podcast or something, more to inform the general public of what's going on. My problem is, it's not even a problem, but to Manny's point, most of them are Spanish speaking. I speak Spanish, I defend myself in Spanish, but Spanish is not my primary language. So when I'm trying to express a process that's going on in the city council, it takes me a bit to properly articulate that so that the audience and the host can understand what's going on. And then we get into this thing, at least with me, where, you know, for some groups I'm not Dominican enough as their elected official, and then for other groups I'm not American enough as their elected official. And that, you know, trying to balance that to try to provide a service for a district that's like about 1,500 folks, and also as the vice president of the city council, where I do have now a larger audience, not larger, but a larger community of folks too that I represent. It's hard, and I hope in the future. I've talked about starting my own podcast, a bilingual podcast, with my broken Spanish and everything, and my English and all of that. So that's something I'm looking for. I'm hoping that in the future folks would, I don't know, start a newspaper, bilingual newspaper or something, that we can reach as many folks as we can that do speak one or two or more languages, because that's what our community is made up of.
I love that. And since we touch up, we have a lot of friends, especially up on Mount Vernon, down here, Sacred Heart. We have a lot of Asians. We have to reach out and we have to make sure that we involve them. If we're going to do the newspaper, maybe one of them will write for us. in something other than English and Spanish. Just a matter of getting people involved.
Just a quick question, actually. Is it possible to get the Secretary of State's office more involved in the elections and lines? Because, I mean, when I went to vote, it was somewhat intimidating.
I'm sorry, Mr. Blatchford, it's just, these guys are making too much noise. Continue, please.
When I went to vote, it was somewhat intimidating. I'm not usually intimidated, but you can tell dishonest things were taking place. So is there some way that the city council or the candidates can appeal to the Secretary of State to really send some heavy armor to the city of Lawrence to make sure that the voting is done correctly?
So, Councilor Abdu, do you want to chime in on that? Are you aware of that? All right, I'll take it. So, Ms. Blackford, from the Manny Gonzalez campaign, during the primaries, we were able to document a lot of irregularities. So we took pictures, videos, reports, testimonies from people that experienced all this. It's an extensive letter, report to the state, asking them to come over based on everything that has taken place, begging them, asking them, come and supervise the November 4 elections. We hope that we made it a case for them to not be able to say no. I think that we made it clear to them that we need their supervision, their involvement on November 4th, and I hope that they do come through and get involved and provide some supervision.
And Mr. Blatchford, you weren't here for the beginning portion of when we started the Q&A. I actually went through that mail-in ballot vote and process that the city council took recently, and I did share with folks that the elections department and our city clerk, they're in constant communication with the state. Now, the state is more involved, at least from, I'm not sure if they're gonna be here physically, but at least from their office in Boston. They're communicating with Eileen and Richard almost every day.
But the only problem there is there are only two people. And I hate to say it, but the deck is stacked. I mean, when you see every city employee trying to hold on to their job by helping out current mayor and so forth. So I guess what I'm saying is what more can be done to ensure that the state comes in and it goes to every precinct. What's going on?
Yep. It's the continued pressure, the continued ask. I know the Gonzalez campaign, from a city perspective, we're doing the same. Every time the elections department is in communication with the state office, they are making that plea. We're just waiting for an official answer on whether or not they will be here. But in terms of, to your point of them being just two, the council president did recently say to our city clerk that if she needs to hire more temp workers or help, or even interns, college interns from neighboring colleges, to help us on election day so that we can have more eyes on what's going on in the polls, he said, by all means, do what you have to do. I have not connected with Eileen yet to see if she's going to take him up on that offer or not, but at least from the council side, we're trying to come up with any possible solution to help alleviate things on November 4th.
Well, I'd be willing to bet it's not a unanimous group asking for that to happen. I'd be willing to bet not everybody on the city council is asking.
Probably not, the leadership is. So, I actually, speaking of accountability and everything, and I didn't mean to be rude when I was on my phone like a minute ago, but I received an interesting text that got me a little worried, stating that the mayor, and he's tried this before, And the state came back and told him he's not above the Massachusetts general law that oversees this, but it's coming up again that he's trying to veto the city council's vote on mail-in ballots. Although the state responded to them in writing, the state's legal counsel responded to the mayor's office in writing on Tuesday that the mayor's office is not privy to overrule that mass general law. I don't know what has occurred since. I just got that text right now. I don't know there's a loophole or anything, but that just got me a little worried when I saw that. Just want to say that. I didn't mean to be rude by being on my phone, but it was something important.
I'm going to take a question from John, but I know that, as you said, more campaigns are putting the pressure. I know that he was one of the very first that started sending videos and stuff that was popping out for people going into buildings and stuff like that. So I'll give it the chance to explain, but he has also submitted information to the state asking for help.
To everybody, when you go vote, if you feel like you say you was feeling intimidated, ask for help. If you see me, ask me for help. I would not allow anybody to interrupt your God-given right to vote. Okay? I would not allow that. I would not allow any of my team approach you unless you need help to walk to where we can go, which is the 150 feet line, or unless you ask me to help you to get to where you need to go. But that's it. We would not tell you who to vote for or anything like that. But like I say, if you feel intimidated, ask for help. Okay, that's your right. Ask for help. And it doesn't matter who it is. If I'm there, I will pull that person aside. I don't care if it's the mayor, I don't care if it's the chief of police. I don't care. The law's the law, and everybody has to go by it. Okay? And yes, I did see a lot of people doing it. I actually got into a confrontation with somebody that harassing people. I actually told him if he keeps going, I was going to tie him up to a light pole. That's how I get a little, especially with my elderlies, I get very frustrated. I don't like people attacking them. Okay, I don't like it. And yes, I did report it. I did report everything to the state, to the city, everything was going on, video, pictures of the person, the piece of paper that we're giving, everything was reported. So as about that text you got, I actually went Thursday, because I got the message. And I went to the election department, and they told me that he cannot do anything.
No, that's what I'm saying. No, we know he can't, and the state reiterated that in a very strong email that I was privy to see, and I was a legal counsel of the state of secretary. But that was Tuesday. So now today is Monday. That was last Tuesday. Now it's Monday, and this message is I'm being told this again. What I'm saying is I don't know what has happened since. And that's something that after I'm done with this event, I'm going to go back to home and investigate that
So
further.
the general law is the Mass General Law 54, I think I sent it to you, 54 section 25B, if I'm not mistaken, that's where it falls.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah,
I have it, yep.
Yeah, because I was told that, and on Thursday, I believe it was, and I went straight to City Hall and they, hey, what's going on? And that's what they told me.
So that was after the state came back.
Okay.
And said what they said in that email. I also want to take a moment to give credit to our city clerk and former District D's City Councilor Eileen Burnell. She has been totally kicking butt this election. She's been speaking up a lot more and not taking stuff from anyone. I was told about a situation that happened at one of the pollings where a member of the mayor's team tried to tell her what to do with the election, and she came back and said, I'm in charge of the elections. Next question. So she's really pushing back. Yeah. She's really pushing back and ensuring that every voter that goes out to vote in person on election day can vote, can feel safe, and is protected as to the best of her ability. So I just want to give her that little shout out. I absolutely love her, and she's doing an incredible job.
She likes French fries.
And she's, okay, I should bring her some tomorrow.
So one other incident that took place that involved Stephanie's name. A mother who lives on Sylvester Street doesn't realize that she lives on this side of the tracks, but she's still on that District F. She loves Stephanie, so she wants to vote for Stephanie, but she has to vote for Michael Plant. So when she goes to vote at South Lawrence East, she doesn't see Stephanie's name, so she writes Stephanie's name. She's going to insert the ballot, and they say, stop, you can't do that, that's illegal. We gotta take your ballot, we gotta give you a new one. I guess she started a confrontation and the police officer came over. Bottom line was, they did take the ballot from her. So it goes to show you, somebody is actually peeking at your ballot and you can have it. I would say, when you're going to insert your ballot, look them in the eye and say, what are you doing? Just let them know, you can't do that. Or call the warden over and say, hey, this person is looking at a ballot. So they actually gave her a new one, and she voted anyways, but she was very upset.
So ballots facing up.
So they were able to see their name.
So make sure when you're submitting your ballot, it's facing down, so that they will, I know you, most of you guys know this, but just to reiterate, make sure the ballot is facing down when you put it through the machine.
Yeah, so don't fall for anything like that. I know you guys are all smart voters, you know your rights. I know that you don't take the cheat sheets like the one I took on Boswell Street, because Dave Abdu asked me to put the window down and take it. The ladies handle them over, so I reach out, I grab the piece of paper. Then I looked her in the eyes and she says, I am so sorry, Manny. Because she was handing me a DePena piece of paper, and so I shook my hand and off we went. But I am so glad that when you go vote, you don't fall for any of that, and we gotta keep encouraging our voters. Don't get distracted. They're gonna be there in front of the polling places. Do what Dan Rivera did. He just said, he went around everybody and he said, hi, Manny. Just like that, ignore them, because there was a candidate running against Stephanie Infante telling me, hey, when I talk to your voters, I'm gonna tell them to vote for you and me so we can split the vote. And I said, what's the matter with you? What's the matter with you, Eric? You are giving them a piece of paper that says to vote for you and Brian, and you're asking my voters. And I said, I'm here with Stephanie. I would ask them to support me and Stephanie, not you. You should be ashamed of yourself. But that's the kind of thing that's happening out there. So it's nice that when your people out there, your supporters out there holding signs, keep an eye on that as well. So if you have to speak to your team and train them a little bit what to look for, don't allow that to happen. Just protect people's votes.
Going back to the frost, something that happened at the frost, I spent like the first hour going back and forth between the frost and the Weatherby, bringing signs and everything. But when I was able to finally just situate myself at the frost, my opponent was way beyond the 150 line, orange line, passing out these little papers. I feel bad for my volunteers and everybody there, because I just ignored everyone and I stomped over and I yelled like, you can't be doing that. And I went inside and demanded to have a police outside. We had 4 police inside. I'm like, nope, we need an officer outside, because this is, I get here and this is what's happening. And I can assure you, he did not step over that line again throughout the rest of the day, but he was still trying to do his thing. But it's things like that. The candidates as well, we are paying attention to as much as we can. Obviously we can't see everything or we can't handle everything, but when we do see it, we do speak up and ensure that things are corrected.
Yeah, with that, I just want to say again, right? Stay focused, driven. 36 days, it's got to be 35 and a half by now. It's almost midnight. We're having a good time here. So, Rich, can I go to this young?
20 minutes.
We'll go to this young lady first, and then we'll go back to you.
Yeah, I grew up in this city, but my father told me to politics from that on. What happened to the respect from the teenagers to the? What happened? There's no respect.
That's hard to explain. I'm running the cleanest, the most respectful campaign, to the point that people say, you're too nice to win. And I keep saying to people, why can't a beautiful city like Lawrence, full of great people, nice people, be led by a decent human being. So I am going to remain that nice person that people know, because a lot of my supporters said, if you change and you start getting down and dirty against other teams, then that's not the person that we know, that's not the person we're supporting. So to your question, the answer is just, we don't know. Candidates decide to do what they do. They take politics into their own hands, and it's a shame, it's sad.
I think some of them were there, all of them. It didn't matter how bad things were, they always respected each other at the end of the day. And the school. It didn't matter.
I remember I actually recently went down a rabbit hole on Instagram watching videos of the Mitt Romney and John McCain and Barack Obama days when they had their debates. And even when they were debating each other, it was like the most respectful thing. And I was thinking the same thing, like, what happened to this? I wish I had an answer for you, Jane, but it's to Manny's point. We can only control ourselves and the way that we act. And if we continue to just to pay attention of others, then we lose focus on the greater picture, which is one Lawrence.
I also went to 2 debates, and I was very nice to the other candidate, because I was the only candidate. The other guy didn't.
Do we have any, Brenda?
Actually, it's a two-part question. When you become mayor, will you please have a communication person who lets us know what's happening at least 3 or 4 days prior to the event happening? Because right now, we don't know what's going on in the city.
The answer is yes, and I also pledged to attend the neighborhood association meetings so that people can actually talk to me in person.
My other question is, when you are there, will you bring Channel 8 back to the TV so we can watch what's happening in the city, in Elcat, everything that's...
Do I have to go through the council?
I don't think so, so you know.
I actually don't
It
even
never
know
went
myself.
through the council and got shut off.
So Brenda, to your question, a lot of people ask, when I came into Lawrence in 1982, there was always a channel dedicated for Lawrence that people can actually watch it and stay on top of what's going on in the city of Lawrence. So I would do everything within my power to restore a channel that you all can watch what's going on, stay on top of events, etc., especially if we are already paying for it. Because my understanding is that we're paying Verizon and Comcast, we're paying the fees, then why not have the channel? So I would do whatever I can within my power. I'll speak to the city councilors if we need to go through that route. But you deserve it. You deserve to have that channel. Another?
I gotta ask Brenda a question. Do we, LCAT, have the capability of broadcasting this event live?
Yeah, we could.
We get Channel 8 back. I say we, because I'm on the board of directors of LCAT along with Brenda. This event could be seen by more than 35 people. It would be on Channel 8. We could squeeze it in at one point
The
in
feast
time.
was live.
Huh?
The feast went live.
Yeah, we did the feast live,
Yeah.
okay? It can be done. It isn't a cheap process. I mean, we need, it would be nice to get some more equipment, but again, all of you people are paying. You're paying for 3 channels in the public access, the education, you're paying for the government channel, and you're paying for the public, which, the feast, this, any flag raisings, or any events on the common that you see one of these things.
Sorry, Richard. That's awesome. I love
This guy just stopped me. I don't even know what to say anymore.
So
mine too.
Yeah, make
You
sure.
can take that one if you want.
What he's saying is lighted signs work. I'm sitting here, not for nothing, and I've been looking out the window, and that Metro sign is going out there. And it was blank, there was no advertising on the bottom of that, one word. I'll bet you can get advertising on that that says, vote November 4th. I've been watching it, I took a video, it gives you the tape sign. I mean, I bet you there's signs throughout the city that will electrify it. I'll ask him, you want me to ask him? I'm stopping that office and ask him what you want to do with this stuff.
I would love to, well, if I can get my face on it, it'll be good, because the mayor throws his face on everything every project, everybody's asking whether it's legal, it's immoral, whatever, but he's throwing his face on every bulletin board that's out there. Forget the letter, first-time buyers, and people are just fed up that this is like city money, taxpayers' money, whatever it comes from, and he is plastered. So I would like to have something like that. Maybe the city can promote, come out and vote November 4th, and vote. Hopefully he promotes, vote for Manny Gonzalez. I told the podcast that the mayor has been reading my platform. He likes mine better than his. And I truly believe that the mayor opinion is being recorded, right? The mayor's opinion is going to go for Manny November 4th. I really believe that.
So we have, what time is it? 7:48. So we have additional questions or comments.
Any announcements?
Do you want to say a few words?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh. But I don't need a mic, I need to speak up. As I was introduced, my name is John Rigo, running for City Council at large for this beautiful city. And all I can say is I am working hard to get on in the City Council to be able to fight for your rights, plain and simple. I've seen way too many screwed ups, let's say, for the city, and nobody speaks about it, nobody fights about it. And I'm not a person just to sit around and let things just go by me and don't act upon it. I don't speak much about what I'm going to do. I just do the action and let the action speak for itself. But I need the opportunity to be able to make the change and be able to work with Manny and Stephanie. It'll be a great honor to do so. So if you guys give me the benefit of the doubt to give me the vote, I'll appreciate it, and I'll see you on the party November 5th. Right? Thank you.
So if we don't have any other additional questions, I want to take this moment to thank you all for being here this evening. To the South Lawrence West Neighborhood Association, I know I thanked you earlier, but thank you again for putting this together. It's been for me truly an honor, even with the headaches, even during the stressful times, to represent District E. It's going to be 4 years in December, and every day I'm learning, every day I'm growing, every day I'm doing the best that I can to be the best counselor for you folks. Whether you voted for me or not, I represent every single person of this district as of your current counselor. So I appreciate you being here. I hope to earn your support again on November 4th. And we have, God willing, we will have 2 more years to continue the work.
I want to say thank you to all of you once again. Brenda, wonderful neighborhood association, and I see the dedication in which you try to help other neighborhood associations, and that is commendable. I want to take my hat off to you for helping other neighborhoods, because I want to see every neighborhood association to be as strong as yours, and that's how we're going to fully staff them all, so that when you go to one of them, nice crowd like this. I want to say thanks to John again for putting up with us. Carleen, I'll be here for coffee tomorrow. Have a day with Mr. Camaso. So anyways, if you sign my nomination papers, if you took a sign, if you took a bumper stickers, if you voted for me in the primaries, thank you for believing in me. The job is not done. We have a lot of work to be done. we have a lot of IDs to still get to. We identified, we're hoping that we can crush at least 7,000 plus votes to be able to secure this win. So we have a lot of work to be done because, you know, we were close to 3,000 votes. I feel energized. I feel that the other side went all out. They outspent us 8-1. They basically brought out every city employee to take us out in the primary to send a strong message, and they were shocked when they saw that this guy's still here. They shocked that the mayor from Haverhill and that the mayor from Methuen came and endorsed me in front of City Hall, sending a strong message to Lawrence. We don't want to work with that guy. We want to work with you. We believe in you. We know you're going to be more responsible and you really want to get it done. So to all of you, please each one of you, get another person. Grow, double this room. Stephanie needs you. I need you. John Regal needs you. The city needs you. There's a lot of young people involved. Pay attention to the other candidates. We don't need to keep going back in circle. I'm not speaking negative of anybody in office right now. Do your homework like you always do. Make your best choice possible for the city of Lawrence. Thank you so much for your support. I appreciate it.